Hey, it's Brandi and I am back with another video for you. We are going to be making a mixed media project here. So I'm going to start out with some watercolor paper. It is hot press watercolor paper, so it's nice and smooth. And my distress inks. I have peacock feathers, picked raspberry, and scattered straw. And I'm going to just make a quick watercolor background here. I'm going to use a silver watercolor brush in a size 8. It just happens to be what I grabbed. I'm going to smush my distress inks onto my mixed media mat, add some water, and kind of mix away. I'm going to do some mixing on the paper and also on my glass media mat, so I get like a purple, a green, and a coral color when I mix my colors together. So this project is actually really fun because it's part of a collab with some other YouTubers that are artists and paper crafters. We decided to do a challenge for each other, and the challenge was a mystery art tool challenge. So we each got sent out a mystery art tool. So the mystery art tool, excuse me, was something that you couldn't give directions on how to use, and you didn't know what was coming, so you couldn't like plan ahead. You just kind of had to open and play. So my mystery tool that I received was a dip pen with some inks, and I'm kind of excited because I've always been interested in calligraphy but never really tried my hand at it. Now I had to just wing it and play on my own. So the only thing I did look up, and I'm not sure if this is cheating, but I'm hopefully that, was how to start or take care of the actual tool, because it's a tool and someone actually spent their money on it. I wanted to make sure that I took care of it the most proper way. So I did look up how to care for dip pens and how to prep them, but other than that, but like nothing like tutorial wise as far as like how to use them and do calligraphy. So I got my background all set. I did do it twice because I really wanted a nice intense color. So I did it once, let it air dry, and then came back to it, did it a second time. Just to deepen my colors. I did keep the colors like where they were. Like I just put more yellow on top of the yellow, more blue where the blue was, and then I let them mix again, and adding more just depth of color. I did have a puddle like forming kind of in the middle where all of them were, so I did take just a clean rag and just damp up some of that soppy water. Here I'm just going to finish drying it. I did take it off the block, flatten it a little bit so that I could get it ready to do some calligraphy, brush lettering, Brandi making it up as she goes along, writing on the piece. To get it somewhat centered, I did add some light guidelines with my pencil. I did a center line and then 1 inch on either side of the center line so that I could letter my quote. The quote is actually a song lyric that I decided to do, and the quote I picked was, "My favorite color is you." It's from a song by AJR. So here I'm just showing you the dip pen that I was given, and I put the nib in it I wanted. From what I understood, you don't want to store the nibs in it because you can't clean them as well, and because the tension that they're under when they're in the pen isn't always good for them. It makes them last longer. Them and the pen, like the nib holder, I don't actually know what it's called, last longer. You do get several different tips. I just found one I liked and just kept practicing with that one. This is a Speedball pigment ink, which is the reason I did my watercolor first, because pigment ink is not isn't waterproof. It runs with water, which I think you could do some really cool techniques with. I decided to do the watercolor first. Here I'm just shaking off any excess ink. I am heavy-handed in my Copic coloring and also with apparently my dip pen. I kept getting a lot of ink blobs, so I just made sure to like shake off so I didn't get any major droplets on my piece. I am not at all a professional calligrapher or anything. I don't actually know what I'm completely doing. I just know that I need to kind of sort of have a flowy hand drawing. So here I'm just going to letter my quote with the pigment ink. I'm going to take my time. I did speed up the video because otherwise this would be a very long video, and I don't really think anyone wants to watch ink dry, whether it be pen ink, Copic ink, or even watercolor. That's just not fun. So I am going to slowly ink up my pen. You want to make sure that you dip your pen far enough into the ink that the little circle, I don't really know what to call it, the little hole gets into the ink, but not all the way down to tip where it's going back into like the holder of the ink. Especially because if you get it really close to your hands, you'll get ink everywhere. Ask me how I know, because I did it a bunch. So for me, for practicing just my cursive and how to hold and how, like, what angle to put the pen at, because honestly it's all feel. I did write the alphabet over and over, my name over and over, and my kids' names over and over again. Here I'm just cleaning off the nib because I don't want to leave ink to dry on it, because you want the ink to flow. You don't want any dried ink on there. It'll mess with the flow. So I just used my spray bottle and a cloth and then wiped it off and put it back in the thing, so I have it ready for the next time. I did let this pigment ink dry. It does take a while to dry, but be careful because you'll see it in a minute. I did smudge some of it, and I will show you how I fixed that here with a Tombow Mono sand eraser. It is one of my favorite things to fix up ink boo-boos if they're not too severe. It is a very handy tool in the craft room. I did use just a regular white eraser. I have a pen eraser that I really like for cleaning up my guidelines that I made earlier. Here I am just going to stamp some flowers. These flowers are by Penny Black. I did cut up this stamp because I am a big person. Like, if I'm going to spend the money on a product, I want it to be a universal product, and if it's it's not that I didn't like the stamp layout just didn't work for what I needed it for, so I just cut the stamp apart. If you don't want to do that, you can do all the masking. I'm a lazy crafter, and I have a little bit of time only here and there in between my kids and my job, so I think it's slightly more convenient. It's totally my style. I did use a Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I am going to be Copic coloring my images over this watercolor. So here I'm just making 2 flower clusters, one in each corner, and another kind of like a mirror image of each other. I stamped 3 flowers because on each side, because I have 6 different colors I want to do, and I did do 1 flower and 1 bud for each of them. You'll notice in some of these the stems didn't all line up. That's completely fine. I'm actually going to go in with a Copic multi-liner in a minute and fix those lines. You just need any Copic safe pen. I just happen to have a multi-liner. This is in 0.1. I think they come in like variety packs because I have a couple of them, but they come in all sorts of width size. I just picked the one that matched the stamp line width the most. Here I'm going to go in and do the leaves. I do 3 color blends when I'm Copic coloring. I'm still not the greatest at filming my own Copic coloring. My hand gets in the way a lot, so I apologize for that. I'm going to work on that for future videos and see how I can better film that. But I start out lightest to darkest and then darkest to lightest. I start out with my lightest for 2 reasons. One, because I can map out the shadows, and if I get them wrong, it's not that big of a deal. I can just go, it's my lightest color. I'm not gonna lose my highlight. And 2, because Copics do well when the paper is saturated. Once there is actual ink on the paper, it's saturated, they blend better. So I get a better blend, especially because I'm heavy-handed when I start out mapping with the lights versus the darks. So I'm just going to go in with every color combination that I do, starting out with my lightest, and then going to my mid-tone, and then to my darkest, and then back out to my mid-tone and my lightest. The nice thing about doing this Copic coloring over this watercolor piece is that my colors of my leaves are going to vary slightly because Copics are translucent, so you can see through all the layers. So depending on whether I'm coloring over blue watercolor versus yellow watercolor or pink watercolor, the tone of my leaves will be slightly different, so I do get a good variation in the coloring, which is why this is one of my favorite techniques. Now for my rose colors, I'm going to color each color that is over, I'm just enhancing the color that's already underneath it. So this is blue flowers over the blue watercolor. I am going to use the stamp lines as guides for where I put my shadows. All of these flowers were colored the same way, just with different color palettes. So I put my shadows where the stamp lines showed. So if the artist already put a line or they drew one petal over another, that's where I'm adding my shadows. I'm also following the shape of the petal, which is why I rotate my paper so much, because I find it easier to flick color away from me than towards myself. I get a better blend that way. But I'm gonna follow, like if the petal is curving downward, I'm gonna put my pen strokes curving downwards so that it follows the flow of the actual piece that's already there. I'm going to switch over here to my yellow, and I didn't show you much of that because honestly I colored most of it off camera, and I didn't mean to, but my kids interrupted me and I wasn't paying attention to where my niece was. Not to mention that my hand's pretty much always in the way, because I probably should have zoomed in a little bit closer and maybe move my camera back a little bit. I don't know. I had to work on that. So here, I'm just going to finish up coloring my flowers. I had a lot of fun doing this kind of rainbow style background because I got to play with Copic blends. I don't have all of the Copics, so for me, I'm always looking for how to find blends with the markers I own. I only have a few in each color family, so I don't have a gajillion. I would love all of them, but I have other things in life that are more important to pay for. Anyways, back on topic. I think out of all of these, the pink is my favorite. It's just so fun and bright, and I really like this color combo. But I do also really like the purple. I just like really bold, vibrant colors. So for me, this is right up my alley. As far as what I learned with the dip pen, I really like calligraphy. I think I want to learn more and take some more time. I find it very relaxing to work on my letters and all of that. Plus, my daughter was way more willing to practice her own handwriting. She's 5 and she's still working on having good penmanship, so she was way more willing to write when she saw mommy practicing her letters. So that was a fun little bonus I wasn't expecting. So if you're looking for more videos that are part of this collab, you can check the description box down below. I will put some links and stuff down there for you to find way more fun things. Here I'm just taking my white gel pen and adding some highlights and stuff into the center of the flowers. I forgot to fill in the center of my flowers, so I did that with my yellow. And then I pulled out my bullet journal because I was going to put this piece in there because my daughter is obsessed with my bullet journal and she loves to scribble in it. So I'm going to cover up some of her scribbles with this. I just used some ETG and popped it right in there. I really hope that you enjoyed this new style video from me, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thank you, and see you later.